Hey, Allison Verhalen here with AV Writing Services, and today I am talking about SERPs, S-E-R-P. It's an acronym, and if you've spent any time at all online in the search engine marketing space, you've probably noticed people talking about SERPs. So what are they? Why are people talking about them? Why do they matter for your SEO? So SERPs, again, S-E-R-P, stands for Search Engine Results Page. So when people ask about your SERPs for your website, they're asking what page of Google do you show up on when people search for relevant key terms. So first of all, the answer is always going to be that it depends on the keyword. Obviously, even if you operate in a specific industry, for example, we work in content marketing, so that's obviously a big keyword for us, but it's not the only keyword that we use, and content marketing is not going to be relevant to all of the of our blog posts and website landing pages. It's going to show up in some of them, but we're also focusing on keywords like SEO strategy and search engine marketing and SEO tips and a variety of other things, and blogging tips and writing services. Those are all keywords for us. So again, whatever industry you're in, you need to research all of your keywords and make sure that you show up for the keywords for all of the keywords that make sense for your industry, for the services you're offering, for the problems that you're solving for your clients, so that when they search for those things, how to solve this problem, you show up. So it's all about which SERP, which result page you show up on Google. So we have two main types of SERPs. The first one is organic. If you want to show up ideally on the first page of Google, you can do it organically. That's one way to do it. That is the longer way to do it. You can pay for it and show up right away, and that's great. But if you want to show up organically, that's going to take time. Your website has to exist for a while. At least a couple months, so Google has time to index the site and your web pages and your blog posts, so Google really knows what category you fit under, what problems you're solving, what questions you're answering, where should they make sure that you show up. So that follows all the SEO tips, and if you want to know more about SEO, you can either read our blog posts about it or reach out to us and we can take care of it for you. But it's everything from making sure you're using the right keywords to making sure that you use those keywords in the right places. You have to be very strategic about making sure that you use them in your slug and in your subheads and all your meta tags all over your blog posts and your content. So know how to make that work for you. So that's great, but again, it takes a while, but it can have the highest ROI. If you are consistent about your SEO strategy, you can show up in results again and again and again for months, even years to come. So it's well worth the investment. If the other kind of SERP, of showing up in results pages, is again paying for it, and that again, that's the more immediate way to show up, and it is also, it has its pros and its cons. Google is putting more and more ads up on their first result page. For example, I was looking at, Chicago dentist. Someone who's looking for a dentist needs someone right now. So Google put like 2 ads right at the top, and then some organic search websites came up organically, and then right at the bottom there were more ads. So it's all about where the buyer is in the buyer journey. Are they looking to buy right now? Because if they are, Google is more likely to put ads in front of them because they're closer to making that buy. If they're asking a question like, how do I take care of my teeth this holiday season? Then that's going to be something where they're not quite as ready to buy, they're just looking for information. So Google is still going to put those ads at the top. Google still loves getting paid for advertising like any other business. But there are going to be more organic results showing up on their first page. So it all depends on the keyword, where they are, and when you're paying to show up on Google, again, on that first page, again, one of the big cons is you actually have to pay for it. Now, Google charges on a PPC basis, that stands for pay per click, which means you only pay if someone actually clicks on that ad and goes to your website. If they just scroll past it, if they click on something else, you don't pay anything for showing up at the top of Google. So that's good. And showing up at the top of Google does make it more likely that people will actually click on the link link and get to your website, and you'll actually get ROI on that advertising. So that's great. When it comes to how much you have to pay for that, that entirely depends on the keyword, and it's basically a bidding war. And depending on some keywords, there are some keywords out there that people are paying obscene amounts of money for so that they can show up in those top 1 or 2 spots on Google. So if you can outbid them and show up there, that's great. If not, you might show up at the bottom. If it's one of those keywords where Google places ads at the bottom of their first page, that's going to be less expensive because fewer people are going to scroll all the way down to find you down there. And most of the people who do scroll aren't looking for ads. A lot of people do skip right. They see that little green ad in the corner and they just skip right past it. So if they get down to the bottom, they're less likely to click on your ad. But Google is very smart, so I doubt they would put any ads down there if no one is clicking on content down there. So that's your paid and your organic. So first of all, why do you care about SERPs? Well, because if you're not on the first page of Google, you might as well not be online at all. That's something that we hear a lot in search engine marketing circles online, and it's really true. I mean, anytime you search anything on Google, Google has a ton of content about all kinds of stuff, and they're going to make sure that they rank all of it, but it's a matter of where does it show up? Does it show up on page 1 or page 1000? And I'm not exaggerating when I say page 1000. There are some search terms that really do have literally thousands of pages of Google results. No one is going to get all the way to page 1000. Most people don't even go to the second page. They look at what's there on the first page. If they don't find what they need there, they either give up or they try a different search term. So it's all about knowing what they're searching for and using those keywords effectively to make sure that you show up in those searches. So that's why we care about SEO. So what should you use? Paid or organic? I would say ideally you should use both. Again, paid can be a great way, especially initially if you're just starting out, it can be a great way to show up in Google right away on that very first page, first thing that people see, and click on it and they go to your website and boom, you have a warm lead already on your site, ready to go. You just have to reel them in the rest of the way through the buyer journey. But again, you only get that ad space for as long as you pay for it. You're only paying for the click, so that's good. But you have to keep paying for each click, and not every click is going to convert. So it's a budgeting thing. Do you have the time right now, the money to put up for that, or is your resources better invested in making sure that you rank organically? So I would say both, because that organic content can show up forever. If you do it right and you write that evergreen content that people are always looking for answers for that specific question, and you have a great answer and you do all the SEO stuff, you're golden. So, and a lot of people skip past the ads. And remember that about half of website traffic comes from organic searches, not advertising, from organic searches. So if you're not using organic, those SEO tips and strategies, you could be missing out on traffic. But same goes for paid. You could also be missing out on a lot of traffic if your website hasn't been around long enough for your SEO strategy to take effect so that you can show up on that first page. So I would say use both. So what are we at? We've got why do we care? Oh, so finally, you get someone to your website. Awesome. You're on the first page of Google and people are clicking to your website, whether it's an ad or organic, whatever. They're on your site. Now what? Now where do they go? What do they find? Do they find a blog post or do they find a website landing page? And if they find a blog post, what is the blog post about? Is it answering a question? Is it telling them how they can do something themselves? Or is it announcing a sale or a new service or product that you're offering? Is it describing how they can take advantage of something that you provide for them? Where they end up on your site is going to determine where they are in the buyer journey. And again, which keywords they're using can also be a clue as to where they are in the buyer journey. Like I said, if they're searching for a dentist in a particular area, a particular geographical area, they're looking to pay right now. They need a dentist. They need someone to see. They're going to give you their money right away as soon as they find someone that they trust to solve their problem for them. On the other hand, if they're looking on ways to keep their teeth healthy, keep their teeth clean, stuff they can do on their own, they're not looking to hire someone right now. They don't need to make an appointment right now. They just need that information. So depending on where they are in the buyer journey, you're going to have to tailor your call to action so that they take the right step in the next buyer journey. So if they're new, if they're just looking for those DIY tips, you're probably not going to go straight for the hard sell. Don't lead them straight to your contact page because they're not going to click on that. And don't just put up a contact page and expect that they'll click on it, because most people won't. They'll go through the content, they'll scroll through all the way to the bottom if you're lucky, and then they will either take they'll follow the call to action there, or they'll click away. So the call to action has to be compelling, and it has to suit where they are in the buyer journey. So like I said, if they're ready to buy, then lead them to a sales page. If they're just looking for some DIY tips, maybe don't go for the hard sell. Maybe ask them to sign up for your newsletter, to follow you on social media, and that way you can keep putting that awesome content in front of them and keep reminding them of how awesome you are and how much you know about your particular subject. And eventually, when they are ready to buy, or when they know someone who is ready to buy from you, you'll be top of mind for them, because you'll have had that opportunity, and you'll have taken advantage of that opportunity to keep putting content in front of them. So those are our tips. That is what SERPs are, search engine results pages, and that's why they matter to your SEO, and that's how you can take advantage of them. If you have any other questions, reach out to us. We are at avwritingservices.com, and our email is info@avwritingservices.com, and we have a newsletter. If you want more tips, you can reach out and let us know. It's at the bottom of our blog post. You can always just click that, fill in your email address and click the subscribe button, and you're good to go. I'm Allison Verhalen with AV Writing Services. Have a great week and happy marketing.